Welcome to Treasure Valley Podcast. I'm Chuck. Today's episode is brought to you by LowerGentry Studios. LowerGentry Studios specializes in high-quality content at a low cost. There is an upcoming web series entitled Canyon County that's set to debut in December. You'll be able to find that on LowerGentry Studios' YouTube channel. Today I chat with Zoë Kelly. She is the lead actress in Canyon County, and she has also received several awards here in the Treasure Valley for her performances. She talks a lot about how she has become such a strong actress. I hope you enjoy the podcast. We're live.
All right.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Zoë.
I appreciate you having me today.
You're very welcome. I appreciate you coming out. So you are an actress, female actor.
Correct.
You're here in the Treasure Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And you might possibly be one of the most heavily awarded female actors in the Treasure Valley.
Perhaps.
So to give people a little bit of background, LowerGentry Studios, the last two productions that we've actually played in front of audiences, you have won Best Actor Award for.
Yeah, I have.
So the first one was for I-48, and that was Continued Loyalty. You won Best Actress for that one.
Yeah.
And then the next one was for Brown Truck. We debuted that at Twin Falls Sandwiches Film Festival, which was a lot of fun. And then at the end of that, the film won an award, but you also won Best Actress.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
That's a great question. I think a huge part of it has to do with the quality of writing. A good actor or actress can have their own set of tools that they use every time, but if the production and the script isn't up to par, then there's really only so much a good actor can do, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but in my experience, I've had great performances with good quality writing, and I've had less than great performances with really bad writing. And I haven't changed really anything in my toolbox, in my skill set, my character work.
Well, let's say that the writing's out of your control.
Yeah.
What do you recommend? Here's one of the things that I learned just from watching you act. So we played opposite each other in Brown Truck, which Lower Gentry and my brother and my infinite wisdom, we just plowed ahead, zero budget, got everybody involved, and you were the only one that was an actual actor. And at that point, I thought I was a pretty decent actor, but I didn't know. And I think a lot of people don't understand the work behind acting. It's almost like everybody can sing, everybody has a voice, everybody thinks that they can get on camera and they can say things and be compelling, but there is a huge amount of work that goes into the background to actually act well. What do you do?
Oh, yeah, that's one of my pet peeves, actually, is that a lot of people think that they can just be an actor and they don't take training and they don't practice. And it really bothers me because I see so many people that have a dream, but they don't know or they aren't willing to put the time and effort in. So I've been acting since I was 6.
What was your first gig?
My first gig was in Butte, Montana. And it was, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a musical. And it was a compilation of a bunch of famous Broadway songs with a really loose plot line going through the whole thing. And I was
You recognize that at the age of 6. You're like, I don't know about this. This does not follow the Disney plot line that I'm used to. This is pretty loose here.
Yeah.
What part did you play?
I was part of the kids ensemble. I remember that at first they had us playing a different character, and then towards the end the director was freaking out and he's like, no, the kids will just be cats. And so I remember being like, no, I'm not a cat. Okay, I'm a cat now. Okay. And I was just part of the ensemble. My favorite part was during one of the songs, I don't know what song it was, I was lifted up into the air by one of the actresses and spun around, and that was like the best thing in the world.
Sweet.
Yeah. But I remember that moment with that first applause.
Okay.
Looking out past the stage lights and seeing the audience and knowing my mom and dad were out there and just getting applauded, it filled me with like a rush that I'd never felt before, and I was hooked. So.
Wow, at 6.
At 6,
You got hooked.
I got hooked.
You got the bug at 6 years old. Wow.
I did. So
that's a good age to start an addiction.
Exactly. Yeah. You're never going to get clean.
It'll follow you for the rest of your life. Nice.
Yeah.
So you practice a lot. I went to the iActors forum just recently and I watched you perform. And these are the things that most people don't understand about actors. It's not like you get a part and then you read the part and then practice the part and then do the part. It's kind of an ongoing process where you're just acting to yourself. Right?
Yeah.
You set your phone up and you watch yourself and you do the work behind the scenes constantly to keep yourself fresh. Yes?
Absolutely. I think it's like Matt Melton would say, similar to working out. He ran the actors workout. Mm-hmm. And if you are a marathon runner and then you don't run for 6 months, you're not going to be able to run a marathon. So I view my acting as a workout. I do it daily. And I am always setting goals for myself, adding to my monologue repertoire, practicing cold reads, and just really putting the time in because it brings me joy. And if I don't do that, I get rusty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what do you recommend people do to start? If they want to act, if they want to do it, how do you recommend that they manage and build that skill set?
My first recommendation would be get connected with your local community. Because I could tell you to do 20 different things, but if you're not in the Treasure Valley, you might not be able to take advantage of those same things. So get plugged into your community and do it. Go to auditions. I've met actors that have been on one audition in their life. I've been on probably over 100 auditions, and I've probably booked maybe 15 or 20 of those gigs.
Oh.
So just doing it and putting yourself out there is the first big step. Classes are also super important. Even if you have to pay $20, $50, $100 to get a good, reputable class from a repertory theater like Idaho Shakespeare, Boise Contemporary, that has really elevated my talent level just by studying and learning from people and then watching people. So that's the biggest way I learned in the beginning. Is I would be ensemble or a small bit in a theater production, but I would watch the leads. I would watch the choices they made. I would watch the work they would do. I'd ask them questions and just learn from people who are better than you and be humble because you're not going to be good from the get-go.
Yeah, don't be upset if you don't get the lead the first time.
Yeah, because you're not going to, and if you do, then you're damn lucky or a male. Just because there's not a lot of guy actors.
Oh, yeah. That makes... Okay. So when do you get to be that actor that throws the tantrum then? Like how much practice and how much work do you have to have before you throw the tantrum and you demand things? Are you there yet? Do you feel like you've reached that point?
No, I think you have to reach the point where you don't want to be...
You're pleasant to work with. I'm kidding. But no, I'm making a joke. Obviously, that's the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Being able to throw a fit and be booked again.
And have everybody do whatever it is that you're demanding in the moment.
I want sugar in this coffee, damn it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. Oh. So who do you look up to as far as acting is concerned? Like who do you emulate? Do you try to emulate one person? Do you pull from a lot of different people? What do you watch? Like how do you learn from watching? That's my question.
Yeah, now that I'm a little bit more of a mature actor, I definitely enjoy Philip Seymour Hoffman's work. I think that he
is awesome. Have you seen Love, Liza?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
That one is crazy. What did you watch?
The one that hooked me was his performance in Capote.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That was pretty awesome.
And he's a chameleon, so I've seen him in a couple different things, and every character is a different person.
Yeah.
So
Mission Impossible 3 was like he made that movie. Did you see that one?
I haven't seen it
yet. Oh my gosh,
he was the bad guy. Bradley talks about it.
Yeah. He's the bad guy in that one. He's awesome.
Yeah. He and Daniel DayLewis, they're just cut from the same cloth. It's those actors that become different people. And I'm not quite there yet.
Okay.
I understand that I have room to grow, and I'm missing something.
Yeah.
And that's why I practice, and that's why I stay humble and keep working and try to learn from people, because I want to be at that level. And I will. I just have to keep practicing.
Well, what were the lessons that you've learned so far that were super important?
I think a lot of it, I was talking to Bradley about this last night. I think a lot of it is I have tools to help me access emotions and to understand scene goals and to do the work on the page, and do the character work and the background and the history of the character. I think what I'm missing is a lot of the technical training. You know, I've never been to a university, so a lot of the vocal work that they do, I haven't had any training in that.
Okay.
That's all been self-training. And
what is the vocal work? I'm not...
Just, I don't know. Have you seen... So you've seen Capote, and then you've seen Mission Impossible 3.
Yeah.
The voice that Philip Seymour Hoffman uses for both those characters, they're two totally different people.
Oh, yeah.
And they're consistent, and the affectations that he has on certain words and in certain situations,
Okay.
I don't have that kind of nuance yet in my vocal abilities.
Got it.
I have a heavier training in physical performance.
Okay.
So I feel more confident.
Like pratfalls and things like that.
Definitely pratfalls. You've seen that?
I can fall gracefully or not gracefully. You pick.
Hard or soft?
Got it. So the physical comedy aspect, you got it. It's just you got to work on your impersonation skills.
Yeah, something like that. I think that's ultimately where, in my self-observation, I can improve myself currently. So that's my goal right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do next to reach that?
Well, I just enrolled for college, so I'm hoping to be able to take a few classes, voice for the performer, and certain things like that that'll really help me learn how to do that. Because unfortunately, I haven't been able to find like a community offered class in that vein. So I'm hoping the university will help me hone those skills.
Then you can learn it, and then you can charge people to come to your class.
Exactly.
Nice.
Make some money, pay off the tuition.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the most recent thing I think that you've done is Canyon County, correct? Our production of Canyon County, LowerGentry Canyon County.
Yeah.
Cool. What did you think? You actually helped with the writing process on that. This is coming out in December. For any of you that are listening that are interested in watching Zoë perform, what was helpful in that process, being a part of the writing and then the acting on top of that? Did you prefer that? Would you prefer just to be directed? Would you prefer to be written around? What do you think?
I think both have their pros and cons, but I definitely really like the experience of writing a character and then becoming the character, because as you're writing, you envision the character and you know more about her back history as the script would dictate. You're not going off and doing your own actorly thing. You know what her background is because you wrote her. You created her, essentially. I mean, for Ashlyn in Canyon County, when we were writing it, I always imagined her wearing a red blazer. And
so that's a good baseline. You're like, let's do the outfits. We'll get the outfits squared away.
I think how we present ourselves says a lot about who we are as a person. So
no, I agree with that completely.
That helped inform her a lot as a person to me. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It was a lot easier to do the scene work because I already knew what Ashlyn's scene goals were.
Yeah.
I already knew why the scene was written, what purpose it served in the overall arcing story. I didn't really have to do as much work because I had already done it in the writing. So it was really nice. I thought it was great. And then just to see her character come to life and be able to give the life to the character, it's really special. I hope to be able to do it again.
That's cool. What's your favorite part?
Of the web series?
No, of your favorite part that you've played.
My
so
favorite part I've ever played. Oh my goodness. That's a really hard question. They all give you something special, but so far my favorite part I've ever had the privilege of playing is Columbia and Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, okay.
I saw that movie when I was 12 against my parents' wishes.
Oh,
and
how'd you sneak that in?
Well, I was left home alone a lot, so.
Oh, okay.
My mom is so
That's
weird.
Funny.
Yeah.
You can't watch this, but we're not going to supervise you.
Yeah, exactly. My mom was like, "Don't watch these movies until you're older." So then, of course, I was like, "Sweet, watching this movie today."
Or the liquor cabinet. Stay out of that one too.
Same. Had a shot of vodka and Rocky Horror.
Nice. At 12, you knew how to do it right.
No, and Rocky Horror really influenced my self-acceptance and my...
What do you mean by that?
Well, I came out as bisexual when I was 13, and I already was having some of those feelings at 12 and a half.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand them. And by watching Rocky Horror, it's just like you can love whoever you love. You can be whoever you want to be. You know, don't dream it, be it. I don't know. It just made me be like, I can be whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. I can love whoever I want. And it really just opened my eyes to the LGBT community and to...
There's a lot more. That acronym got enormously long recently, just so you know. So I'm extremely offended that you didn't hit every single letter on that.
LGBT ...
Yeah. It's huge. Do you think that, seriously, do you think that that's important for a lot of young people out there, like adolescents?
I do. I really do. My mom's always been really active in the LGBT ... community. And it's different having your mom introduce you to her gay friends or her drag queen friends and take you out to Pride than it is seeing yourself represented in pop culture.
Okay.
I know that it's controversial, but I'm a really big advocate for diversity on the screen because as in your formative years, not hearing it from your parents and seeing it makes a bigger impact on your self-identity.
Okay.
I think.
What do you think the reason behind that is?
I guess I don't know. That's a good question. I think it's just there's something to be said for having art that encourages you to accept yourself. I mean, that's a journey every teenager has to go on. I'm not just saying LGBTQ people, but every teenager. I mean, as a young man, you, I'm sure, saw plenty of films that had a cis white male as the lead character that you could relate to.
There are a couple.
So I think it's important to see yourself represented in the media because then you're not, maybe you feel more included in a community.
Is it that external inclusion? Is that what you mean as far as like outside of your normal social group?
I think it's both.
Okay.
Because for me, Rocky Horror helped me accept myself. I mean, I hadn't told anyone this when I first watched the film, but it was, these feelings I'm having are okay. The world isn't ending.
Yeah.
And you can be whoever you want. So I think it is important to see that represented.
Okay. Well, who do you think should be represented more right now?
I think transgender people should be represented more. I heard about a movie where a cis female actress is going to be playing a transgender role. And
she bailed on it, I think.
Oh, did she?
Wasn't that...
was that Scarlett Johansson?
Or? I think Scarlett Johansson backed out. I think.
Well, good. I mean, a transgender actress should be playing that role. I mean, that kind of stuff does bother me.
Well, that shouldn't be her decision to make, though. I don't think.
Who? Scarlett?
Yeah, because, I mean, it's like you get offered a job. Like, are you going to turn down a job if you get offered a job? You know what I'm saying? I
guess it depends on your moral standing and what's more important to you. Morals or money.
Yeah.
The classic paradigm.
But the director should probably, or whoever's in charge of casting.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah.
And do you think that it would increase or decrease attendance to the money?
I think it would... If there was a transgender actress playing the lead role, it would increase a certain amount of audience participation, but I think perhaps another sector would decrease. I think, it's a give and take.
Got it. I don't think there's a transgender actor in, isn't there a Netflix web series or something like that?
Yeah, Orange is the New Black has what's her name? I can't think of it off the top of my head, but yeah. And she's been in a couple other productions as a transgender actress. And so, in my opinion, we have people with the skill set. We have people that are talented. Let's use them.
Yeah.
But
just to help the people that are going through that in their own minds and find external
role models. Absolutely. I think it's very important.
So that they understand that it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Self-acceptance. And then a bigger external acceptance and seeing that you're part of a community.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just a white guy. It's
you
hard
don't
for
get
me
an opinion.
I'm just it's hard for me to imagine that those types of things, like as far as what not seeing myself represented and in the media on a wider scale. That's cool. I didn't know that about you, that the play Rocky Horror Picture was something that got you going.
Yeah.
What was that role like for you when you played in it?
So this was actually my first show after high school theater. I auditioned for Stagecoach Theater in the Treasure Valley, and I had never auditioned for anything before. I went in there, I sang 2 songs, really unknown, kind of underground musical theater songs, because people love to see that.
Yeah.
Makes you seem cool.
Yeah.
And I included a soft tap dance number in one of the songs because Columbia has to do a tap routine. And I basically just put my best foot forward and was like, please cast me. This is my dream role. Yeah. And they did.
Sweet.
And I got to meet all these wonderful people. And my character work starts really physically, just because that's where most of my training is.
Yeah.
So I come up with a point of energy, I guess, if that makes sense. Yeah. And it was her hips. And so I got this really slithering walk with her, and it was just an experience I will never forget. I mean, I'm a germaphobe, little known fact. Okay. And Frankenfurter, the main man, has these large, long, pleather boots, right? Okay. And we're taking cast pictures, and I'm down by his boot, holding his leg, and inside my mind, I'm like, I should lick his boot. And then I'm like, oh my God, though, but germs. Yeah. And then my inner Columbia was like, I don't care. And then I just licked his boot for this picture. And it turned out so cool. I don't know. It was a really great experience. Really freeing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What about film? What's your favorite film role that you've done?
That's hard. I really want to say my favorite film role thus far. I'm going through my resume in my head. I want to say it's Iola in We Speak by LowerGentry. There was something about Iola. I think it was how close she was to me as a person. Yeah. That really connected me with her. And I mean, you saw the footage. It was so easy to access those emotions. I mean, in one of the scenes I cry, and I didn't even mean to cry. I wasn't going to cry. I was just so frustrated that these tears started pouring out of my eyes. And it was just, I felt really connected with her and her story. And
was it closer to you than some of the other? Did you not have to step as far out of yourself for that role compared to some other ones, or?
I'd say it was the closest to myself I've ever played, except for some existentialist plays that I've done.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she was me in almost every way.
Right on. Yeah. You did a great job in that, and then David was opposite you.
Yeah.
So that was a production where instead of playing opposite me, an untrained actor, you got to play opposite somebody that
is really good.
Yeah, that has practiced his craft quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so for those that are listening that don't know We Speak, it's a film that we're actually in the process of submitting to film festivals. So hopefully it'll be coming out soon. And you'll be able to see Zoe play opposite David. I have a small part in that, and then Hannah Jane Austen has another. We have a few other odds and ends in there too. A few other people that have small roles, but it was a lot of fun to put that one together, and it was super simple too. The way it was shot, we just kind of did it in this house. We used this beautiful room that I have blankets hanging on the walls for at least one of the scenes. This is our sound studio. Our sound studio with a moving blanket and a quilt. Whatever we need to do at LowerGentry. to get content out there. But yeah, you did a great job on that one. You were playing a young woman who is just kind of very emotional in a young couple that's extremely emotional, the way that they interact with each other.
Yes.
Would you say?
Yes.
And the two of you pulled that off really well, to where, I mean, the dialogue was well put together, but then you and David did a really good job of making sure that there was just a constant like flux and emotions going on throughout the whole thing, which I think is what brings audience engagement.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of, at least if you don't understand the upsetness, you can understand when she's sad, you know, and then that, like it was just kind of a film that covered the bases of in 60 minutes of what happens in like a semi-dysfunctional relationship, just those steps that you go through.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It just, and David.
The things that we keep doing over and over and over again to ourselves. It's like, maybe
delusion
this will be different this next time. I mean, I know I went through this exact same process with somebody before this, but this person's different.
Yeah. And David's just so talented. I mean, that's a powerhouse actor, and being able to work off of someone like that really, enhances your performance as well. I mean, that's one of the bigger challenges besides poor writing is poor scene partners.
Yeah.
When you don't have someone to give you that energy and to feed off of and to really inspire choices, it just makes your job, it's like you're carrying a dead weight around. It makes your job 10 times harder. So I was really, really fortunate. I think that's one of the reasons I love that so much.
And you did awesome. And
Thank
you
you.
do theater.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think people need to, because we've coached some actors. There's a ton of actors here locally that are involved in theater.
Yeah.
And then there are a handful that are involved in film. I would say not as many. Maybe I'm wrong. The theater actors outweigh the film actors.
Yeah.
And there's a different vibe. When we go to the Actors Forum, a lot of those are theater actors, mm-hmm. and the way that they project, and it's just different. Mm-hmm. What do you recommend people that are trying to switch from one to the other or get practice in one to the other keep in mind?
Yeah, it is a totally different skill set going from theater to film. I personally believe that if you want to be the best actor you can be, you should do both, mm-hmm. because the more you practice, the better you get. And there are certain things that are the same between the two.
Yeah, such as
memorizing
your lines,
getting off book.
It's pretty important.
Yeah. Character work is the exact same. Finding the energy of your character, the physicality is a little different, mm-hmm. because in film you want to be a little more realistic depending on the genre of your film, I suppose, but generally speaking, and volume, projection, enunciation is much more important in theater.
Yeah.
Film, you can really...
If you over-enunciate, you sound like a goofball sometimes.
You do, yeah, exactly.
The camera magnifies everything.
Yeah.
Because it's not very often in theater that you're sitting 12 inches from somebody's face.
Exactly. So I think my best advice for someone that wants to switch between the two is really, I have kind of a checklist for both of them.
Really? Why don't you post this online in like an article? Oh, shoot. How many points are you willing to give up free, and then you can
$5.99 for the rest?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say 3 easy payments of $19.95 or whatever.
There we go. Yeah. Upsell. No, I think it's really projection, mm-hmm. enunciation, and larger body movements for theater.
Okay.
For film, subtlety.
Yeah.
Because you would be surprised how much people can see just in your eyes.
Yeah. And keeping in mind that you need to do those things too.
Yeah.
While the camera's on you.
Yeah.
Is crucial.
Just blank stare.
Yeah. Because a lot of times it can be, I'm just looking on the outside. It's hard to keep all that stuff. Having acted on camera, it's hard to keep all that stuff on the forefront of your mind, which is why practice is so crucial, I think.
Yeah.
Because the times that I've done it and I've been opposite you, I'm watching you do things, and I'm like, I need to try to keep that in my mind so that I can emulate that stuff. And then you can only keep like 3 things there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's all trial and error. I also think if you're doing film work, watch yourself on film. I mean, there's so many actors that are like, oh, I can't watch myself on the film. I feel so awkward. I'm like, well, it's probably because you're doing a bad job and you should watch it to get better.
There you go.
Like, I hate to be so blunt, but that's the truth. You have to watch yourself. You are your own best director. Only you know how to communicate with yourself.
Find those insecurities and bring them out and then just hammer away at them.
Look at them.
Nice.
Fix
what
them.
was the biggest insecurity that you overcame while you were on camera? No, you don't have to share that if you don't want to, but
No.
I'm curious.
In Brown Truck, I'm sure you remember, that was my first film project I ever did.
Yeah. Brown Truck was just real quick so we can go explain. Brown Truck is a sci-fi film. We debuted that last year at Twin Falls Sandwiches. And so hopefully that'll be coming out soon here. We have some ideas on how we want to release that. We're kind of up in the air on which route we want to go. But eventually the goal is to get it online for people to be able to download it, possibly pay. Maybe it'll be free. Who knows? But that's a sci-fi about the singularity. It's kind of a cool concept. But anyway, so you were watching yourself on that. Was that your first big role on camera?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I had done a few commercials before then that were like pulling teeth. And I think it was for the same reason. I, as a theater actor, tended to over-emote. So even in the best scene of mine, the interview scene.
Yes.
I watch myself now and I'm still like, I am over-emoting. I am... When we talk as people face to face, we don't wear every emotion on our sleeve. We hide emotions more than we express emotions. Yeah. And that was the biggest thing I learned as an actor after Brown Truck is in theater, melodrama especially, you're putting it all out there. Oh, I'm sad. I'm happy, and it's because the audience
it's just like primary colors.
Right. It's primary colors. Yeah. Exactly. Because there's no subtlety.
Yeah.
Because the audience is so far away. So in watching Brown Truck, I saw my lack of subtlety, and it was easy to quickly adjust it. Continued loyalty was the next thing that I did on film that was worth any significance.
And then it was a lot more subtle. You're right.
So much more subtle. I mean, there's a point, Hannah Jane Austen, my best friend and actor in We Speak, said, I saw a point where you squinted your eyes just slightly, and all of the subtext came out in just that one thing. Because the audience in film is more willing to project their own ideas of subtext and emotion. You don't have to work that hard.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, that goes with a lot of different things with the camera angles. But yeah, the subtlety in the acting is true. So do you think about that, leaving it like the slate blank for people? Is that something that you actively try to do? Sometimes, especially with Ashlyn, I did. It just depends on how closed off my character is. Okay. How much? What do you mean by that, closed off? How much a person is willing to emote varies from person to person. So I'm very expressive. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. There's no hiding very often. Yeah. But a person like Ashlyn from Canyon County, the web series, would hide a lot more. Especially given everything she's been through. She's stuffy. She's stuffy. She's really stuffy. Yeah. So she has this veneer that is constantly on. And that informed a lot of my performance and how much I emoted. Whereas Iola wears her emotions on her sleeve as well. So I chose moments that I would mask what I was really feeling. And then other moments I just ended up crying because I was so frustrated. Yeah. So. How do you make those decisions? Like, so we're just talking about the two large projects that we worked on, and Iola is closer to yourself, and Ashlyn is not anywhere near the way that you express yourself. No. So how do you decide in that? Do you do it in the moment? Like what? Yeah, it's definitely. I heard a quote one time, I can't remember where, but 98% of the actor's work happens internally and 2% happens externally. Okay. So I do all the character work. I write out pages. So you got to eat well. What? You got to eat well. Got to eat well, because exercise. All that's internal. Exactly. I'm still working on my joke material. 10%. Sweet. Off the cuff. All right. But anyway, so 2% is extra. What is that? What does that mean? So 2% is what you emote
externally.
Okay.
98% is knowing where your character comes from, their background, their life experiences, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
And when you're present in the moment, making those choices is a lot easier. So I ground myself really heavily, and I make a very conscious effort to be present with my scene partner. Because if they're giving me something, I might react differently than how I read it in my head and practiced at home.
Okay.
So
What do you do before you start shooting? Or before you go on stage? Like, how do you get yourself in character? Do you have tricks that you're willing to share with people?
I do, yeah. It's kind of a long process. I read the script 3 times. And
Every day?
No.
Oh, okay.
Just at first.
Okay, yeah.
So I read the script 3 times. My third time, twice for content. My third time, I get a notebook. I write what the script says about me and what I say about me.
You mark your scripts up a ton.
Yeah, I do.
Just so people know this. Like, you mark it up. I've never worked with somebody that marks their script up as much as you do.
Me neither.
So that's probably, I think, I mean, that speaks well to like a process that works, and it might not be the same for everybody, but for you, it's really important. Like, you make a ton of notes.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm guessing because you don't want to forget it later on, and you want to be able to reference that, your immediate thoughts. Or I guess it's not even immediate because this is the third time that you read it.
Right.
So you write on the script what you think the character is, and then on your notebook you write what you are thinking, or what?
So on a piece of notebook paper, I analyze the text, and I say, oh, the text says Catgirl, for example, is a superhero. So I write down superhero. And then a line of dialogue of Catgirl says, I'm strong. So I write down, what do I think? I'm strong. So then I analyze the whole text from front to back, what the text informs my character.
Okay.
Then I write a character background, usually 2 to 10 pages, depending on how inspired I'm feeling.
That matches your little table.
That matches the chart, exactly.
Okay, so you actually you do 2 columns.
Yeah.
And then you write what's factually true about the character.
Correct.
And then any type of dialogue that states how that character feels about herself.
Correct.
Okay.
Do you want me to keep going? There's a lot more.
Well, no, this is interesting.
Yeah.
This is probably why I need some help the times that I was on screen. You know, I'm just like, I'll just say this naturally as possible. Apparently there's more that goes into that.
Just a skosh.
Yeah. Fortunately, Elliot, when he wrote the parts that I played, like, it was basically close to myself. So that was super easy. It was like a big crutch.
You did exceedingly well in Continued Loyalty as my scene partner as the corrupt mayor. I thought that was a really good typecast for you.
Oh, well, yeah, I was a previous life corrupt mayor.
Yeah, just kind of seedy and like...
Yeah, seedy, corrupt, whatever.
Self-absorbed.
Yeah, that was all previous life stuff. Totally not that way any longer. I got over that in the afterlife and then the return.
You did really well, though.
I'm over that. But anyway, so you have a table.
Yeah.
You have 2 columns.
Correct.
Okay, so that's where you start.
Yes.
Okay, then what?
Then I write a whole character bio detailing the moment they were born until the script begins.
Okay.
Which takes a while.
Do you ever make any wild choices? Mm-hmm. Okay. And how do you decide if that fits in your table of stuff that was already present for whoever wrote the script?
I take context clues.
Okay.
I'm a behaviorist, so if one of my characters...
I'm a behaviorist.
Oh my goodness. Stop it.
See, I'm not just a cis white male.
We can't...
I'm also a behaviorist. What percentage of the population is that?
That's a good point.
Yeah. I need a behaviorist. Can you play a behaviorist, please, on screen so that I can feel okay admitting it in front of people? Go ahead. Sorry.
But if my character is crazy, right? So one of the people are like, oh, she's crazy.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, well, something crazy must have happened to her.
Okay.
What made her so crazy? She wasn't born unstable. How did she get unstable?
So you're taking context clues from other characters' input in the script into that character, and then you're using that information to come up with a reason why.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like, for example, Columbia in Rocky Horror Show.
Okay.
She has a lover, Eddie.
Okay.
And in this certain production, Eddie was a bit older than me, right?
Okay.
And he rides a motorcycle and he's dangerous.
Yeah.
And Columbia, I was 21 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It looked 16.
Yeah.
Was this baby face, little, like, seemingly innocent girl. So I decided she was born in a small town. She was 17, but she told everyone she was 20.
Okay.
And she ran away from home and she linked up with Eddie and chaos ensued.
Oh, okay. So he was the way out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she was just following him around kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm like, why would she be with Eddie? Like, that was one of the questions. Why Eddie?
Oh, okay.
I don't get it. It's why Eddie? And that was my reason why. She hated her super religious mother, and she just needed to get out, and he was her ticket out of town.
I bet you do this with a lot of different characters that you don't even play. You do this all the time, don't you? Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite character on film that everybody would know about?
My favorite character on film.
Or one of your favorites.
I love Poison Ivy in Batman.
Really?
It's like a thing.
Uma Thurman?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I know that
know.
one. So she was in Batman Forever, right?
Yes.
That was the Val Kilmer one.
Yes.
With Jim Carrey as the Riddler, who was awesome.
I know.
I don't think they put the nipples on the Batman suit at that point yet. I think that was the Clooney thing. And then it killed the franchise, or it was Joel. I don't know if it was the nipples that killed the franchise, or it was, yeah. Oh, George, he's so dreamy.
Oh, dear.
He still had that head bobbling thing going on at that point in time, though, I think.
He did
just
in
left
every frame.
Just the ER. I don't know, Ramen. But anyway, so Poison Ivy, did you come up? Well, see, that's that. I was gonna try to figure out an example where you actually did that by watching a movie. But everybody, like, Poison Ivy has like a background because she's a villain,
right? And
they take care in that, like in the DC and the Marvel universe, they make sure everybody has. Do you have an example of someone that you watch and you're like, oh, this must be what happened to it? Is it like a knee jerk?
No, I don't think I have one off the top of my head that everyone would recognize. No.
Okay.
Sometimes they come to me, but I don't jot them down.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, ooh, that probably happened. I don't know. I think that's why I like writing as well, because a lot of writing is character development. I'm very good at coming up with character development and their back history. It's one of my hobbies.
Oh, well, that's
I mean,
good.
I have some characters that aren't in any movies that have their own lives.
Oh, nice.
But they will find their way in a movie one day.
I was going to say, if you have too many personalities going on, there's medication for that, just so you know.
No, it's okay.
I know a psychiatric nurse. But no, you don't want to stifle the creative process.
Acting is my therapy.
Just let that all out there. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you have I was actually talking with Elliot about this recently on the podcast, and I don't know what the order this is going to air, and he was talking about the writing process and how important characterization is to that, because you don't connect with anything, any type of fiction, unless you identify with the character.
Oh yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
And so, like you were saying earlier, even in mass media, if you have somebody that you can relate to, it makes you feel better about yourself, and then you're gonna enjoy that story a lot more. And so he was talking about when he was writing, that was a big epiphany for him, that he was gonna put himself in someone else's shoes, which came a lot later. Which I think maybe actors have an advantage on some of those writers then when it comes to that, because it sounds like you do that process inherently. Or did you have an epiphany as well when you realized that you need to kind of throw yourself into that other area mentally before you approach something, rather than how you would do something?
No, I've always been highly empathetic ever since I was very, very, very young. One of my favorite stories my mom likes to tell is we were in a Kmart and I was 4.
Yeah.
And this little girl was crying, and then I looked at my mom and I was crying, and I'm like, Mommy, why is the little girl crying? So I've always had a innate ability to imagine what life would be like as other people.
Wow.
I don't want to guess why, but
Well, no, there's actually, so I've read a study about this. Really interesting. No, wait. Maybe it was I don't know if it was a podcast or a paper. I get everything confused now because I just consume.
Too much
everybody's
media.
just like consuming that, like sit in front of a screen for like probably 90% of my waking hours. I don't remember if it's Netflix or if it's a podcast or whatever. Anyway, so there are people that are super empathetic. Obviously, there's a continuum on it.
Sure.
But there was this woman that they put into an MRI that couldn't watch people eat. And the reason she couldn't watch people eat was because she would start to feel full. And so they tested her compared to everyone else, and they would show people getting injured on a screen in an MRI, and then her brain would light up as though she was getting hurt. And it's really interesting, and it kind of goes along with what you were talking about, identifying with people on screen. If you if you show a person being hurt and to somebody in an MRI, and they're the same gender and the same race as the person in the MRI, they're going to have more of an empathetic response in their brain than if it's somebody that doesn't look like them or that they don't identify with. Yeah.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah. So basically, like a majority of people are only empathetic to their own little group is kind of the hypothesis that they led to after doing those MRI scans on people. And there are certain people that disassociate with themselves to the extent that their brains are actually feeling that they're chewing and swallowing food. And it can be that.
Isn't that your mirror receptors? Like we all have mirror receptors.
Mirror neurons?
Or mirror neurons?
Yeah, I believe that's what it is.
And then sociopaths, their mirror neurons are like dead or broken, and that's why they have no empathy?
Well, the thing is, sociopaths come across as super empathetic, and that's why they're so tricky. Is that they're really good at emulating that stuff, but they don't necessarily have that internal emotion. That's why they're so tricky. That's why you got to watch out for those sociopaths.
They're gonna get you.
Yeah, they'll get you. Have you ever played a sociopath?
No, that would be
outside of, if you're
challenge.
So empathetic. That would be tough for you.
I bet I could do it though.
Yeah.
Like, because isn't that what American Psycho is based off of? He's a sociopath?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, Christian Bale, he's another good actor, right? Or how do you...
Yeah, no, I just had such a crush on him as a kid. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, he's so good.
You're like, I wasn't paying attention to his acting.
But those abs.
I just loved him running around covered in blood with an axe and no clothes on. He had like 80s like man briefs on, right?
Yeah. Yes. Even in that movie, he's just so attractive. No, he's very talented also, though.
No, he's a handsome devil.
And his teeth. Oh my gosh, his teeth are so sexy.
I didn't notice his teeth.
You gotta look.
Which I should. I mean, in Batman, that's basically all he was showing were his teeth.
Yeah.
Did you notice his teeth before he played Batman, or was it Batman? You're like,
Batman.
Oh, you're like, what part of this man's body can I absorb right now? All I have is his mouth. Oh, that's
Still
perfect
good.
too. That's perfect too. Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good sociopath. Yeah, I think that American Psycho, I think that was supposed to be stereotypical. I don't know what type of background work the writer and director did on that movie, but supposedly it's pretty accurate. I don't know. I worked in mental health for years, but fortunately I never ran into any quote-unquote psychopaths, which they changed the name to like social personality.
Oh, yeah.
They don't use psychopath anymore.
Yeah.
Because psychopaths were upset about it, I think.
Like, you hurt my non-existent feelings.
Ouch.
Just kidding.
Poor psychopaths. They got a really powerful lobby. Don't listen. If you don't listen to their lobby, you're in for it. Watch out. Cool. So Canyon County is going to be out soon.
Yes.
December, by the end of the year. You'll have to be coming back in here. We have a better studio than this to do sound work for your ADR scenes. It won't just be you in a big room with some blankets on the walls. What
It'll
else?
just be a closet.
Yeah. Inside the closet with lots of clothes. It works a lot better than this. What else do you have coming up?
I just was cast in a student film, Into the Haunt.
Oh, cool.
So I'll be playing a supporting role, Becky in that production.
Cool.
That'll film in September. And then,
Oh, wow. That's right, soon.
Yeah. And then I'm finishing up post-production work for Zane the Vampire God, which is by Johnny V Films, I believe.
Yeah, Johnny V Productions, I think.
Something like that.
Johnny V's awesome.
Yes.
He does a great job with his lighting, especially. Like, that looked incredible. I've only seen the images of it when we were doing your ADR, but I'm excited to see how you do in that one.
Yeah, it's working out well. I reviewed a lot of the ADR for my scenes and for some other people's scenes, and it's actually lining up really well. They have they probably don't call it a graphic designer, but someone to do the special effects in it, all the magic and stuff. It's looking pretty good.
Cool.
And so that should be, I believe he started submitting that to film festivals last week.
Oh, wow.
We should be having a little rough first screening, private screening of that soon.
Okay.
And I just saw an audition for, I just did an audition for Katrine McGregor's upcoming, she's casting a feature film called Paradise Pavilion. I went out for the lead role's love interest / supporting lead female role. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
Well, you got a lot of stuff going on.
Always do.
There's a lot of ways people can see you act in your expertise.
This is true.
The number one way I recommend is going to LowerGentry Studios channel on YouTube and watching some of your work there.
And subscribing.
And subscribing as well. Is there any other locations online where people can see you practice your art?
Yeah, I've been uploading some videos of my monologues and things like that and my demo reel to my YouTube channel, which is Ms. Zoë Kelly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, good. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
And I'll chat with you again soon.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.